Good morning. Today I thought I would share a story about my grandson who just celebrated his 23rd birthday. What is special about Shay is he has Down syndrome. And when Shay was born 23 years ago, we didn't know too much about Down syndrome. And I remember a day or two after he was born, my son and his wife receiving the diagnosis of Down syndrome. They were devastated. They really didn't know anything about Down syndrome, and he had a lot of medical problems when he was born. So there was a lot to consider. But I remember that my son's biggest concern was that people would make fun of Shay, or he would have trouble making friends. And he was just afraid for Shay on what his life might look like if he was picked on and my son wasn't there to protect him. My daughter-in-law's biggest concern was Shay's medical issues because he had an undeveloped lung. So he was real susceptible to illness. And so that occurred quite a lot in his early years. And I remember about 3 days after he was born, I went to the NICU to visit. And when I walked to the door, it was dim within the room. And I remember my daughter-in-law sitting in the rocking chair, holding Shay, holding his little hand, and she had tears in her eyes. Well, of course, when she saw me, she cried, and we cried together. She had no idea what the future looked like. But she went home, and she was contacted by a facility called Child Serve. And it was a group of people that supported children with disabilities. It wasn't just Down syndrome, it was anyone with disabilities. And they had programs and field trips and mentoring and helping with life skills and that type of thing. The biggest thing it did, though, was the support that organization gave my son and his wife. I mean, their exposure to children with disabilities was greatly improved because they talked to parents that had older children with Down syndrome and knew what to expect. So it became a much happier place at home. And Shay has always had the cutest smile, and his eyes just sparkle. They have so much love. Down syndrome children are just precious. And then when Shay was about 3 years old, my son and his wife had triplets. Triplet boys. And so life became very complicated at that point, taking care of 5 children. They had a daughter that was a couple years older than Shay. So I went over there every Friday night and took care of all the kids so that my son and his wife could go out and have a good time. And of course, when Shay was in the hospital for his medical issues, on occasion, I would stay while my son worked and my daughter-in-law stayed with Shay at the hospital. So it was a group effort, but we got through it. And it was so interesting that as Shay grew older and got into school, the schools were so nice and great about including the kids in with the regular classrooms and teaching the other kids in the school what it means to have Down syndrome and making him inclusive in their activities. I thought they gained a lot through empathy and how they perceived people with special needs. And that was a great thing. And I know that now that Shay's an adult and he's mostly working on his life skills, at some point he'll go into a group home and have a job and be able to live independently with someone, an adult in the home, to help him. But what my son does not have to worry about is Shay being picked on or bullied, because the triplet boys that my son and his wife had are around 6 foot and pretty muscular guys. And so I would dare anyone to try to pick on Shay or to hurt his feelings or anything else, because they wouldn't stand a chance. And my granddaughter, Grace, has such empathy and is so protective of Shay. And she still provides some services for Child Serve in relationship to Shay's learning and taking care of him over the weekends. They get together and play cards, and they have a great time. So I think the point that I want to make is Shay has never been a burden. He's been a blessing. He has taught us so much. His unconditional love and the sparkle that he has. And now he has a girlfriend. And he is so proud of his girlfriend that it's just so cool to watch them together. So today, I hope you enjoyed this story, because I enjoyed telling it. And I am so proud of Shay and the progress that he's made in his life. And I look forward to seeing what else he accomplishes. So if you have a child with special needs or Down syndrome, I know that you know what I'm talking about. They're a blessing. So for today, I hope that you are a blessing to everyone around you and your friends and your family. I hope you're having a great day today. Take care.